button. Push the goddamn button.
I'm fighting for my life.
You know what free is?
Pull up on me.
What's free is?
What is going on, everybody? Back here again with your episode 6 recap. They made us wait 3 weeks. We back. We back, man. And episode 6 was a banger. It lived up to the hype. Tariq is free-ish. So I can't play Marvin Sapp. I said I was going to play Marvin Sapp when Tariq is free, but we'll see when he beats the trial. But he never would have made it without Tate. Tate is the MVP tonight. And yeah, he came in through the clutch. And Lauren, where were you when Tariq needed you? You wasn't there. That's why you fired. Effie's back. Effie, Brayden, and Tariq, the dream team. If y'all don't think Tariq is the new ghost by this episode, I don't know what to tell you, man. Making moves from a phone call. You see how he bossed up on Monet at the end of the episode? I'm going to talk about that with the little phone call or whatever. But and lastly, Lorenzo is back home. Mecca versus Lorenzo is happening. I can't wait to see it. But right now, Lorenzo is back home. He had the welcome home parties trying to get the business back together, but Monet doesn't want to fall in line. So we're going to see what happens with that. Mecca's in the wings waiting, that home wrecker. He's going to mess things up eventually. So with that being said, all that and more in your episode 6 recap. Let's get this thing, man.
They say this is a big rich town. I just come from the poet's part. Bright light, city life, I gotta make it. This is where it goes down. I just happen to come up hard. Legal or illegal, baby, I gotta make it.
I never took a straight path nowhere. Life's full of twists and turns, bumps and bruises. I live, I learn. I'm from that city full of yellow cabs and skyscrapers. It's hard to get a start.
All right, y'all, welcome to your episode 6 review of Power Book 2, Season 2, What's Free. And I started off this review by playing What's Free by Meek Mill. I thought it was only befitting, even though he let me down with Expensive Pain. But I'll talk about that in my Catch Up podcast, episode 19. If you haven't seen it yet, the year-end podcast, top 5 versus top 5 albums, Matrix review, Spider-Man review, more stuff from there. If y'all haven't seen it, go check it out. But all right, y'all, but let's get this show underway. I got my tank top on, got the muscles popping, man. I had to do it, man. I just came from up north, a 10-hour drive from Nebraska, and I said, I'm gonna wear my tank top today. But this episode was tough, so I decided to wear my Timbs today, man. I ain't brought my Timbs out since the book 3 finale. So if y'all haven't watched that yet, go check it out. Is Rock a Monster? Y'all remember that? But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about book 2. So we're gonna start things off with the welcome back party for Lorenzo, and Diana still throwing that shade. You know, she gave Monet that look like, yeah, I did this shit. But yeah, Monet also choked her out later in the episode. So I thought that was real fun. They give me some real Monet and Diana, they're giving me some real Tariq and Ghost vibes. I don't think it's gonna go there as far as Diana shooting Monet or something like that, but they're giving me those vibes. Y'all remember when Ghost put, you know, the burner to Tariq's head. But yeah, child abuse. But anyway, so we have a welcome home party. We have a new character introduced, Keno, who used to work with Lorenzo in his organization. And there's going to be a plot to take him out that Drew comes up with. So we're going to be seeing some leadership qualities coming out of your boy Drew, even though he's not all the way in yet as far as taking over for the family. But we're going to talk about that more as I go throughout the review. Also, Lorenzo doesn't know who Zeke is. So Zeke came to the party and was like, who's this? So it's like my nephew. So he's like, that's your nephew. That's not mine. But anyway, I just always assumed that Lorenzo knew who Zeke was, and he didn't. So this came as a total surprise to me. Kane comes through with guap. Zeke brings so all the wrong people are coming to the party. So yeah, guap doesn't like the look that everybody is giving him. Zeke looking at him crazy, Drew looking at him crazy. So yeah, Guap is feeling unwelcome, and then Everett is there. Everett is really feeling unwelcome after Monet came and talked to him. She's like, you got to get up out of here. So she was already peeping that Drew and him, were exchanging looks. So she cornered him and gave him the Carrie talk. So he got up out of there. But speaking of Everett and Drew, Lorenzo already knows. The next scene we get, where they're in bed and they're talking, Lorenzo's like, yeah, I peeped it out. So just like that, it took how many episodes for Monet to figure that out? So everybody knows except her. Maybe Kane. I don't think Kane knows either. But yeah, how did it take y'all this long to figure that out? Lorenzo did it like that. But anyway. So I think I covered everything that went over at the party or whatnot. So let's go ahead and go to the next scene. The whole breakfast in bed thing. We already saw the teaser where Diana, threw some slick shade by not bringing Monet the breakfast. I think she did do it on purpose. But anyway, Lorenzo seems to be set in his ways. Him and Monet are having a conversation, and he has his mind made up on what's, how the empire is going to be ran. It's like, Monet, you going back down to stay-at-home mom, just take care of the house. Diana's going to school. Kane is going to be the muscle, and Drew is going to be, the future heir to the throne. And of course, this is going to be a problem. And Kane is there as well. So, and Lorenzo said things are going to go back to the way they used to be. And Kane and Monet kind of shared this look, but in this episode, they kind of have a mini partnership going on. So they have a common enemy, so to say, with Lorenzo, because Kane, of course, he wants to be, his own boss. He doesn't want to be just the muscle for Lorenzo. And then Monet's not going back. She spent all that time taking care of the business. You think she's going to go back to just being a stay-at-home mom? Next up, we got your boy Tariq in court, and he's fighting for his life.
Fighting for my life.
And Davis and Sachs are representing him. And one part that stuck out in this scene where Davis was talking, he said he's what'd he say? He's a pillar of the community. No, he has extensive ties to the community. And then old girl's like, where they at? It was nobody there for Tariq. Lauren, where were you? You're fired. I thought you were ride or die, Lauren, but we're gonna talk about Lauren too. I think that is it gonna be a possible Lauren versus Carrie thing going on? So I'm gonna talk about that. But even though they were unsuccessful in getting him bail, Davis tells him through other means, through the right price and influence, that an appellate judge could give him bail. So with this being said, it's time to send for Tate. So we get that later in the episode with those two talking, and I enjoyed this. This is probably my favorite part of the episode, where Tate takes that mask off, that fake mask that he wears, and your boy Old Dog came out for a second, and then he, low key threatened Tariq. He was like, hey, if you don't come through, because he's supposed to be getting some old dirt for Sweeney that he hasn't come through on yet. He's supposed to be getting this photo album from, Sweeney and, well, not from Sweeney, but Brayden's house or whatever, his family's house. And it's supposed to have some pictures of Sweeney not doing some favorable things. And he's going to use this for dirt, of course. He gave him this warning like, hey, if you underserve, I'm going to make sure you buried. Cop killer. And then Tariq had this look on his face where, he was kind of scared, what I'm saying? But Tate has that influence, book 5, right? He has that influence. So he's going to be able to spin this and get Tariq out of jail. That's the plan anyway. So, unfortunately, he's successful with that, but we're going to talk about that in just a second. Your boy is free-ish. But while Tariq was sitting in jail, he gets a visit from his favorite imaginary drug dealer, Kane. And not Kane, Kanan. They really should have gave Kane another name. But Kanan, he gets a visit from Kanan. And he figures out that Kane, through his, imaginary talk with Kanan, that Kane was the one who set him up just like that. So we don't really get, any intricate way of him finding out. He just figures it out for the sake of the plot, right? And also Tariq comes to the conclusion that Monet helped Kane. And I was just like, I guess Monet kind of did help Kane out with this, even though she didn't directly tell Kane to go after Tariq. She just told him to fix the situation with Ramirez. And so it is kind of her fault, but not directly. But anyway, Lorenzo also finds out about this as well, and he doesn't like it. So he feels like it was sloppy, and it was kind of sloppy on Kane's part, which is another reason I feel like he's not ready to run the organization, even though, you know, he's been showing some improvements in far as, you know, being intelligent and thinking and stuff like that. He just doesn't always go about it the right way. All right, so next up, we have a classroom lesson going on in the midst of all this controversy going on with Tariq. Some of the students, like Brusandria, they're not really feeling it. It's like, you know, why are we talking about some canonical studies when we got all this stuff going on right now? I don't feel like it. So I was kind of feeling her on that. But the lesson is freedom and illusion. And they were basically talking about, will he get bail? Will he not get bail? Of course, Carrie, who is now the most hated person in the Power universe. She has taken down Tariq as the most hated person. I believe so. I hate her. I don't like her character, man. She's arrogant. I can't wait to see that egg on her face when she see Tariq is out and free. But yeah, so that's pretty much what we got from there. And then Lauren confronts Carrie about the whole tricking her with the wire and everything like that. And Lauren finds out later when your boy gets free that Carrie is doing Zeke. So she kind of threatens her with that. So we got this Lauren versus Carrie thing going on. So I want to see them butt some heads some more. I like that. Even though this does not excuse you, Lauren, you're still fired. All right, so next moment I want to talk about is Tariq getting out of jail. Your boy Tate came through in the clutch. Tate got some real pull, man. And if Tariq knows any better, he better come through with that information that he's supposed to get him, because he could be a real problem. But we see that Tate has some type of pull and influence in the city. So he's out on bail, and he has to wear this ankle bracelet. So he's not totally in the clear. He has some restrictions. He can't go out of the city, of course. And only place he can really go to is school and to go see Davis. But also during this scene, we find out some new information on Tasha and her whereabouts. She's apparently in New Mexico. But of course, they're going to keep this information, Sachs and Davis, they're going to keep this information from him to keep him from doing something stupid. Because if he were to find out where she was, he possibly could run. So I understand why they kept that information. But I think Tariq will learn about her whereabouts some way, somehow. And but that's where we are with that as far as the Tasha situation. Will we ever see her come back to the show? I have no idea. It's my understanding that she's filming, I think it's Queens or something like that. I've never seen it, but I think that's what she's in right now. But hopefully we'll see her in the future, and I think she'll come back at some point. All right, so the first thing Tariq does with his newfound freedom is go see Brayden, of course. And right off the bat, he using his head. He turns on the shower once he gets in the room, just in case the the place is bugged, because he doesn't want to be caught slipping again. They have a conversation, and I found it interesting that both of them chose the drug game, even though they both come from privileged lifestyles. But yeah, so they have an argument about the whole Kane situation, and Tariq was mad that Brayden was seeing Kane behind his back. And he temporarily fires him because they do get back together later in the episode. So another person on Tariq's warpath is Lauren, and he's upset at her because, of course, she didn't show up for him. Where were you, Lauren, when Tariq needed you? But anyway, so he's upset at her, and he ends up letting her go. So she's fired as well. And but before he let her go, he tells her that Carrie is sleeping with Zeke. So now she has this information, and she goes to confront Carrie, and she's upset with her already for tricking her with the whole Brayden and the watch situation. And Carrie, she's displaying that evil side now that, we've been hearing about, and, old boy hinted at Whitman. But speaking of Whitman, where is Whitman? We didn't see him in this episode. I don't know if he's going to be in any more episodes this season, but there's really not any more need for him. But anyway, yeah. So we see some shades of evilness coming from Carrie, but she was real bitchy during this conversation. But anyway, we got that going on. So, there's this Lauren versus Carrie thing that's gonna be going on the rest of the season, I guess. But anyway, since Lauren is out the picture, Effie finally makes her move, and of course she would when they finally break up. She know what she's doing, but how is this gonna come into play when Diana eventually finds out that they're working together? Because a couple episodes ago, they were out shopping, and then she was telling her that she doesn't want her to get hurt by Tariq, and she doesn't care about Tariq anymore. So how is she gonna feel when these two get back together? So we'll see what happens with that later in the season. But Effie goes to visit Tariq, and they do some pillow talking, and Tariq tells her that Jabari, the whole situation with Jabari, even though he hesitated a little bit, but that's all he needed to do, that told everything she needed to know. And he tells her the truth, but there was some real growth with Tariq going on in this episode, because he finally, decided to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Later with Brayden, he tells him about bars and the 2-bit situation, which they kind of threw us a hint right there, because old boy was like, I haven't heard from him from a while, or something like that. So I think there was a hit that 2-bit is coming back. And of course he told him about, the Jabari situation. So he's telling the people that are close to him what they need to know, and not keeping certain parts from them. So I think there was some real growth with Tariq going on in this episode. All right, y'all. So getting towards the end here, so we have family dinner going on with the Tejadas, and some old memories are coming up as Drew and Kane are reminiscing about their childhood. And this is making Monet think a little bit. She's smiling when they're bringing up these memories. So, and this is causing her to want to try to rectify things and try to make it work with Lorenzo. So she goes to see Mecca, and she tells him, "Hey, this is over with, and you can't see your son." So, man, let Mecca see his son, man. He deserves to see his son. But anyway, of course, he's not going down without a fight. And this causes him to change his mind about not being revealed as the Connect. And he tells Kane that he wants to meet Lorenzo, who earlier in the episode, and this was one of my favorite parts, and he bossed up on Lorenzo. He was like, "I am the Connect." But yeah, your daddy gonna shut you down again. He already had the guards beat him up where they showed early in the episode. I don't think they showed that for nothing. I think Lorenzo gonna end up putting out a hit on your boy again for talking that smack, but we'll see about that. But yeah, going back to this part of the episode, Mecca finally agrees to be finally agrees to meet Lorenzo. So we're getting closer to Lorenzo versus Mecca, and Mecca, I don't think his as far as wanting to meet Lorenzo, I don't think it's primarily because he wants to do business. I think it's primarily because he wants to mess up the family. He's a homewrecker. So in order to attempt to get with Monet, either that, or it's like, hey, if I can't have her, you can't have her either. It's one of those. And then business, of course, is secondary. So we're going to see what happens when these two get together. Are they going to be able to do business? How is it going to, affect the family? If it does get out that, she knew Mecca at some point. But anyway, I think that does it there. And I already talked about Tariq and Brayden and Effie getting back together. And I think Tariq, he's showing more now than ever that he's, the new ghost. If you think about it, in the situation he's in right now, he has the ankle breaker. He can't really do anything. So he's making all these moves from afar. And another favorite part of the episode was when he had Effie, because she takes care of the meetups and the re-ups and all that stuff like that. And he had her meet Monet, and he bossed up on her on the phone, talking about, hey, we need to straighten this out. You know, what happened with Kane. And then Monet was explaining herself. You know, it just, Tariq felt like a boss during that point of the episode. So he has Effie taking care of that, and Brayden is supposed to take care of like with the meetups with Bash and stuff like that. And he also had him go get the photo album, so we got that into play as well. But we end the episode off with Tariq looking at that letter. And since he decided to burn the letter, I decided to retire my drop, so I don't have it anymore. But yeah, I think the episode ended off great with him burning that letter, and he's out to prove Ghost wrong. So with that being said, that's gonna be it for today's review. What do y'all think about the episode? I thought it was a banger. And yeah, sound off in the comments. But that's gonna be it for me, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this review, and hopefully I will be playing Marvin Sapp Never Would Have Made It. But first, Tariq has to get through the fight of his life, man.
I'm fighting for my life.
But yeah, will he beat trial? We'll see. But anyway, that's it for me, guys. I'll see y'all next time. Deuces.